here in New York. Brother, they promised us. Be quiet, please.
I think the manager.
He upset because I give information, like. But this is his deal with UFC. I don't deal with UFC. This is his problem. But we have deal with them. He's gonna fight in Madison Square Garden, and they say yes.
Khabib Nurmagomedov has finally announced the date and place of Islam Makhachev's potential fight with Jack Della Maddalena. However, Khabib Nurmagomedov also shared his thoughts on potential challenges for Islam Makhachev, saying he sees Jack Della Maddalena as possibly the most difficult opponent Islam could ever face. In his view, Maddalena brings a combination of size, skill, and underrated grappling that makes him a bigger threat than Ilia Topuria. Khabib explained that if he were coaching Islam for a matchup with either fighter, it's Maddalena who would concern him more due to the overall danger he presents.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в ислам-карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов...
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Ну, мое личное мнение. Во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Ну, для меня, если я например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалины, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалена.
Moreover, Dustin Poirier believes the outcome of the fight largely hinges on the initial rounds. If Islam manages to secure an early takedown against Jack, Poirier thinks Islam could dominate the contest. However, if Jack avoids being taken down, his strong boxing skills and physical power could pose serious challenges for Islam. Poirier also mentioned that Islam's striking, though sometimes awkward in appearance, is effective because opponents remain cautious of his wrestling threat.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's gonna get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's gonna go.
Islam Dulatov weighed in on the upcoming matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, noting that many expect an easy victory for Makhachev, but he disagrees with that outlook. He acknowledged that while Makhachev is likely to win, it will be a challenging contest. Dulatov pointed out that although Makhachev is large for the lightweight division, he isn't exceptionally big at welterweight. He also believes Maddalena could have an advantage in weight and striking skills, though Makhachev holds a clear edge in grappling.
I think a lot of people think that it's going to be an easy fight for Islam, but I don't think that it's going to be that easy. I think Islam gonna win, but I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight for him, like everybody thinks, because Islam is maybe big for lightweight, but he's not big for welterweight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I would say, like, I don't know, he don't look for me so big.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just on pictures or whatever, but actually, I think JDM has a lot more of weight than him. But at the end of the day, I think JDM has better striking, and Islam has for sure the better ground game. And I think
Later, Dulatov reiterated his confidence in Makhachev's ability to secure the win despite the difficulties. He emphasized that the fight won't be simple and cautioned fans against underestimating Maddalena, who has earned his place at the top for good reason. Ultimately, Dulatov remains firmly convinced that Islam Makhachev will prevail, even though the battle will be tough.
If I said you had to choose one fighter to win that one, who would you choose?
Islam.
Really, Islam? You're just saying how he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, but I say he will win this.
You really?
I think he gonna win this for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, like I'm very sure that he's gonna win this.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be not an easy fight.
Not easy.
You know, like because I see in the comments like a lot of people, oh JDM, it's over for you. You know, like people make this guy like very small. You know, and actually, bro, he That's a reason why he's there, you know, why he's a champ. So I think it's gonna be a tough fight, but Islam gonna win for sure.
However, Khabib explained that the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena will happen at Madison Square Garden in New York. He mentioned that the manager got upset because Khabib shared some information, but clarified that handling the UFC deal is the manager's job, not his. Khabib emphasized that he stays out of those negotiations and that the manager should address any concern.
I think here in New York. Brother, they promised us. Be quiet, please. I think the manager. He is now upset because I give information. But this is his deal with UFC. I don't deal with UFC. This is his problem. But we have deal with them. He's gonna fight in Madison Square Garden, and they say yes.
Furthermore, Robert Whittaker commented on the uncertainties Islam faces by moving up in weight. He pointed out that competing at welterweight introduces new physical and tactical challenges. Despite that, Whittaker remains confident in Islam's abilities, believing he can perform at an elite level comparable to what Belal Muhammad has shown in the division.
But like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Luke Rockhold described the upcoming bout between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena as a challenging and thrilling matchup. He named Islam Ilia Topuria and Jack Della Maddalena among his top UFC fighters right now. Rockhold commended Jack's exciting fighting style and strong wrestling ability, but highlighted Islam's extensive grappling background developed over many years. He also mentioned the size difference, noting that Jack is naturally bigger, while Islam has also bulked up, adding an interesting dimension to the fight.
That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think those are my three favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. He's fun to watch. So, I mean, that's going to be a great fight. You know, he's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM. He's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you know, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, you know, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, I mean, he's definitely grown. You know, we'll see how he carries the weight.
Charles Oliveira praised Jack for his dangerous and methodical fighting style. He emphasized Jack's patience, noting that rather than rushing for a knockout, Jack wears down his opponents over time, as demonstrated in his fight against Belal Muhammad. Oliveira believes Islam will maintain his strength moving up to welterweight and will rely heavily on his grappling skills. The key, according to Oliveira, will be whether Jack can keep the fight standing or if Islam can control the bout on the ground.
Yeah, I've seen Chimaev fades towards the end of fights. As we've seen with the Usman fight, I think if the Usman fight was 5 rounds, I believe Chimaev might lose that fight. You know, the striking, I believe, is kind of like neck and neck, but what I've seen as far as like the grappling, I believe Chimaev is the more technical, well-rounded.
Alexander Volkanovski broke down the upcoming clash between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev, saying Jack's performance against Belal Muhammad was an ideal build-up. He highlighted how Jack's success in shutting down Belal's takedowns boosted his confidence and sharpened his defensive techniques. Volkanovski emphasized that even the best grapplers would struggle to bring Jack down or maintain control once the fight hits the mat.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Javier Mendez shared his thoughts about whether Jack Della Maddalena represents Islam's toughest challenge yet. He stated it's hard to say for sure, but confirmed Islam is fully committed to the upcoming fight and training camp. Mendez praised Islam's focus and high-level skill set, describing him as a uniquely skilled fighter unlike anyone Jack has previously faced. He also believes that the move to welterweight fits Islam's body well and expects him to remain dominant.
You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. You know, I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, you know, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, you know, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, you know, Islam is a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, you know, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, you know, the weight is not super big for him either, so he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Mendez also stressed that their team is not underestimating Jack at all. He pointed to Jack's victory over Bilal as evidence of how dangerous he is. Mendez acknowledged Bilal Muhammad's toughness and said Jack's ability to overcome that toughness makes him a serious contender. He emphasized that Khabib and the team are preparing diligently with full awareness of Jack's threat.
If we as coaches think Jack is easier, we're stupid. Yeah, we are very stupid. Then we didn't watch the Bilal fight, because Bilal can take a hell of a shot. He can take a hell of a shot, and he took him. And he gave him two. Bilal gave him two. So it was a war. That fight was a war. And you know what? For us to think it's an easy fight for us, you know, what kind of idiot coaches are we? Khabib's not an idiot, and neither am I. And neither is Magomed, neither is Saif Safullah and Muhammad, the other coaches that they work with Islam. We're not stupid.
According to Mendez, Jack is a significant challenge because of his size advantage and diverse striking arsenal. He noted that Jack throws sharp punches and kicks that keep opponents guessing. While Mendez described Ilia Topuria as a more precise striker, he stated Jack has a broader range of striking tools. Mendez warned Islam that even a small mistake could be costly and emphasized the importance of flawless preparation.
We know what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a much bigger guy and just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, in different variations. Not boxing, because I think Topuria's got the best boxing in the business. I still believe that. But Jack is well versed in the kicking and the arsenal, how he mixes it up. He's really good at head and body, leg, everything. He's really, really good at that. So we have our hands cut out for us. It's not an easy fight at all. If Islam, by some miracle of a chance, makes that fight to be like slam dunk, it's because we were properly prepared, or Jack wasn't as prepared, or Jack was injured, or Jack just got caught. But it's gonna be one of those fights. It's not easy. No way in hell is that fight gonna be easy. Very tough fight.
Jorge Masvidal shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, favoring Islam to come out on top. He praised Jack's striking and impressive takedown defense showcased against Bilal Muhammad, but believes Islam's wrestling skills surpass that level. Jorge pointed out that while Jack may begin the fight aggressively with his striking, Islam's relentless pressure and superior grappling will take control as the rounds go on.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack, #1 pound for. Wow, that's impressive. You know, I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Bilal.
Bilal has the best cardio in MMA, but Bilal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique, not same. Very good, very aggressive. Bilal never stops. A dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. but as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Navajo Sterling boldly predicted that Jack will control Islam throughout the welterweight title defense. Sterling argued that Jack's physical size and knockout power would limit Islam's wrestling effectiveness. He also mentioned that a Jack victory would diminish the excitement for a future Islam versus Ilya matchup. Sterling concluded by saying Islam faces a very tough night ahead.
You picked JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and like when you watch JDM, like you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to like shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Dan Hardy described the matchup between Islam and Jack as one of the most thrilling fights possible at the moment, second only to John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. He expressed enthusiasm about Islam moving up a weight class, but questioned whether the UFC will allow him to keep his lightweight championship, given recent policy changes about holding two belts simultaneously. Hardy acknowledged Islam's dominance at lightweight, but was uncertain if it would translate to welterweight. He also questioned how long Jack can maintain his championship reign.
I thought he was very, very impressive. You know, it would be awesome to see Makhachev move up and fight him. You know, I did see that Makhachev said he's not gonna relinquish his lightweight belt. So I don't know how that's gonna fly with the UFC, because I think they're putting a stop on double champs now, aren't they? But it would be a fight I would love to see. You know, that's probably one of the best super fights you could make right now, aside from, you know, obviously John Jones against Tom Aspinall, which is the blockbuster. I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, you know, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, you know, on any day, you know, including Ilya Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev.
Philip Rowe expressed confidence that Jack Della Maddalena would come out victorious against Islam Makhachev. He argued that Islam lacks the size needed to compete effectively at welterweight. Rowe believes Jack's strength would allow him to recover quickly from takedown attempts and overpower Islam, ultimately securing a finish.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chilling.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight, you've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in a fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop Islam.
Ian Gary said this fight is difficult to predict. He complimented Islam for his well-rounded skills, but pointed out that moving up 15 pounds changes many variables. Gary highlighted Jack's physical size, powerful boxing, and improving ability to defend takedowns as key strengths. Despite these factors, he still favors Islam slightly due to his elite skill set.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
Chael Sonnen posed the question of whether Islam will continue at welterweight to pursue another title shot if he loses to Jack, or if he will return to lightweight. He pointed to fighters like Ilya Topuria and Islam himself as examples of athletes driven by the desire to become champions. Sonnen emphasized that in mixed martial arts, nothing is more important than chasing the championship belt.
If he loses to Jack, does he get right back in the mix at 170? Works his way back to that title shot. Is that what he does, or does he cut his weight back down to 155 pounds? Whether it was Ilya, what he's going through now, what it is Islam and the announcement that we just got, what I'm attempting to prove to you is there is nothing in this sport that matters more to the fighters than the weight.
Renato Moicano viewed the bout between Islam and Jack as an even contest. He acknowledged Islam's grappling skills and size advantages at lightweight, but noted the challenges that come with stepping into a higher weight class. Moicano stressed that Islam will require time to add muscle and adjust to facing naturally larger opponents, making the fight fairly balanced in his eyes.
So Islam versus JDM, I think they probably should be even, you know, because even though Islam is a good grappler, he's big for 155. He's moving to 170. We never know, you know. I think he needs to take some time to work on to gain weight, to gain power, you know, to gain strength. So that's why the odds are even, and I think they should be even.
Jack Hermanson commented on the unpredictability of how fighters perform after moving up in weight. He recognized Islam's near unbeatable status at lightweight and suggested he might be one of the top pound-for-pound fighters currently. Although uncertain if Islam can replicate his dominance at welterweight, Hermanson still favors him in the matchup. He praised Jack's performance against Belal Muhammad, but noted that more fights are needed to fully gauge Jack's true skill level.
Yeah, it's so hard because you never know when people are changing weight classes. But in lightweight, you know, Islam looks like unbeatable. It's just like maybe the pound for pound best. It's just looks so insanely good. But can he do it in a weight class above? I'm not sure. Really hard to predict a fight like that. I think I still have to say Islam.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to see a few more fights with Jack. It looked amazing against Bilal, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's something about Islam is just so good.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this fight? What do you think about their matchup? We would love to hear your thoughts on this clash. So share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other latest videos on the screen right now.